There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness. All right, Tim, it's a brand new week. We've got a lot of cool stuff to get rolling with this week. What's our first story in the world of supernatural news?
Well, I don't want to bring the room down, Dave, but it does have to do with a death.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, the former vicar of, I believe it's Landigai near Bangor, Joe Aylwin Roberts, died on Thursday. He was 99 years old. Mr. Roberts was also an author, broadcaster, and expert on the paranormal and voiced Welsh language children's show. I don't even want to know how to pronounce that, Dave. I get the, you should know how to pronounce Welsh, Dave. No, the Welsh should know how to pronounce our stuff. That's where I'm going with this.
They do.
They don't. They don't.
So, yeah, 99 years old, though. Mm-hmm. And look at all he accomplished. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. He was a broadcaster, an author, a speaker, a ghost aficionado. Man, what a life to have led. 99 years.
Right.
What do you think they're going to say at my 99th birthday?
They're going to say, Mr. Schrader, please stop gumming. Yeah, put your clothes back on and stop gumming the Jell-O so much. It's a semi-solid. You should really be through it by now.
That's a better answer than we've missed him the last 40 years.
Well,
that would really be upsetting. No. All right. So go on. I'm sorry. He passed away, 99 years old.
99 years old. In total, Mr. Roberts wrote 12 books, including Holy Ghostbuster, which was his account of decades as a church specialist dealing with the paranormal. Mr. Roberts was born in, oh my gosh, look at that name, but I can't say it. Began his broadcast in the 1940s when, to supplement his income, he voiced the original radio version of, is it Will Quack Quack?
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I don't know what the name of the show is, to be honest with you. The dean of Bangor Cathedral, the very Reverend Kathy Jones, said, why is she a very reverend? Is there like a sort of reverend that I'm missing here?
Yeah, she's really committed to it. What are you? Okay. I'm sort of a reverend. How about you? I'm very reverend. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, so she's really into it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Said he was unique. He was loved by every section of the Welsh community, some not knowing he was a priest. To his last hours, he sparkled with love, knowledge, and enthused his immeasurable humor. Mr. Roberts married to Margaret, who died last August. He had 6 surviving children. There you go. And I'm not being disrespectful to him, but
he's 99 and he has 6 surviving children?
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable right there.
Who could live longer than him. I'm just saying.
Now that Dad is done, we can finally have some fun around here. We'll be missing him. He was a forerunner in the field, and it's a loss, to be sure. All right, where are we going next, sir?
We go to a haunted painting that's selling after spooky activity in a home. A Kiwi Trade Me user is looking to flog off this could mean something entirely different, I know, is looking to flog off a piece of haunted artwork after witnessing a string of unexplained events or activities inside their home. The painting of a soul bowl was purchased in a Pauanui antique store. Easy for me to say again. Mm-hmm. But the art owner suspects something came into the house with it. Taking to Trade Me, the seller wrote, creepy painting comes with its own shadow person. Purchased in a Pauanui purchased in Pauanui at the antique shop, suspected is haunted, not cursed, but suspect something came into the house with it. But it was the multiple unexplained incidents that spooked the seller. She explained that the painting fell off the wall one night while experiencing other paranormal events. Another night, a shadowy figure was cast, moving from the upstairs room window where one painting was hung. With no one in the room, the seller wrote, after further investigation, my own shadow was cast onto the driveway when I looked out the window. Creepy, partner asleep, and no one else in the house. Selling as it's just too creepy to have. Great for someone who is interested in the paranormal. The starting price for the haunted painting is $40. The bidding closes on Friday, January 19th at 5:14 p.m. So there you go.
What's it? Is there a link to click? Can you tell us what the current bid is? It started at 40.
Let's see here. It looks like there's a link here. Let's see. I'm going to trademe.co.nz, which is New Zealand.
Oh, what could horribly go wrong clicking to some foreign link?
I don't know. My weekend has gone swimmingly, so let's see. I will. I'm not going to complain as much as you did, Dave, but I do have the flu.
Wow.
I do, yeah.
Wow.
But you know what? Here's the upside to the flu, believe it or not. The meds are wonderful. They actually take away some of my pain in my neck and my back. So I'm not complaining about the flu. I actually think it's a blessing. Let's see here. It doesn't say what the bid is. It just says it just gives the listing, and then when it says add to watch list. I don't know. Maybe you have to actually sign up and go on and make a physical bid in order to see what. Oh wait, okay. Current bid $40, reserve met. Next minimum bid is $41. So it's too rich for my blood, Dave. It really is.
It's hard to believe you don't want a haunted painting that it comes with its own shadow person and creepy activity.
Yeah, I just think $41 is just a bit much for me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can we talk about the most paranormal experience to have happened in a long time?
What's that?
10 seconds left in the Minnesota Vikings game.
Oh, boy, yeah.
And Stefon Diggs goes up for the pass, and a ghost shoves the defender. Did you see the way he was violently shoved to the ground and blocked out of the way? I believe it was the ghost of Prince.
It was, actually. Yeah, it was.
I believe that he came in there in his little stiletto high heels and bent down to, the old-time way you do, and then that guy just tripped over him because I don't know what that guy was diving at because you don't miss like that unless there's a ghost involved, Tim. That's all I got to say.
I want to say they're calling it the Minneapolis Miracle, Dave, and here's why it's the Minneapolis Miracle. Now, all week long, while you were gone, I said, I've gone on the air and I called it. I said the Vikings are going to win this game. I caught crap, and I'm not going to give his name. I was going to call him out on today's show, but I didn't because I got a nice email from him, from a Packers fan who is very stubborn. He was very stubborn about the Vikings are one and done. You guys suck. It's just gonna be more heartache and misery. Ha ha ha. The only time you're gonna get a Super Bowl is when you host it. And I got a very nice. This is why it's a Minneapolis Miracle, because even Packer fans can turn around their ways, Dave, and not be, have the blinders on. I got a very nice email from him saying that he's going to be rooting for the Vikings from here on out, right? And he's seen the error of his ways. He said here's actually an excerpt from the email, and my heart grew 3 sizes this day, Dave. I kid you not. Here is an excerpt from his email. He says, "Okay, so I will say that I was wrong, and I'm open to taking an on-air beating, but I'm not going to do that, sir. I'm not going to do that. However, it would be wrong to say that they handily beat the Saints, and I will not say that. They didn't. They didn't." He said with 25 seconds left on the clock, there had to be doubt. And there was. I will say, I was sitting there, I was sick to my stomach.
Until the ghost of Prince showed up.
Until the ghost of Prince. Right. Prince showed up.
Shoved the guy?
Shoved the guy. I heard an ow. And I was like, what?
I thought I could have heard, if you turn it up really loud as the cheering burst, I could hear, "That's Purple Rain, bitch."
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's what Prince said as he tripped the guy.
Right. He said, anyway, it's looking like the Vikings will go on and play Super Bowl in their home stadium, and that's pretty cool for Vikings fans like you who've never experienced the Super Bowl.
He's saying this out loud to try to jinx us.
No.
That's it. There's too much talk.
Dave, this is what he says. He says, that's not a backhanded comment. It's actually pretty cool. I don't give Philadelphia any chance against the Vikings. I also think that Jackson...
Don't give a rat's ass about the Vikings deal. I was just talking about the ghostly interference on this. I don't think they put our personal emails from Packer fans think about this this little twist in the turn.
But see, that's the Minneapolis Miracle at work here, Dave. But now it seems that Alex in Philly has not learned his lesson, because he emailed me tonight and says, "Skull my ass, fly Eagles fly on the road to victory, bring it on." Now, by all means, Alex, you evidently, my friend, need to learn the lesson of the Minneapolis Miracle. That's fine. We're humble here in Minnesota. We're very humble. We'll just say, you've got to...
What you're hearing right now is the actual Minneapolis Miracle. Tim is not being negative about the Vikings' chances to win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. He's actually buying into it, that they may actually have a chance. This is the true Minnesota Miracle, and you're all witness to this.
I'm telling you, it's the Corleone curse here. All family business is being taken care of this year.
All right, I can only hope so.
Don King has set it up for us. We're going all the way, baby. It's all rigged in our favor. I can tell you that because there are a few questionable penalties, and I'm on the Saints fan side on this one. There were a few penalties that got called against the Saints secondary today that I went, what? We never get those.
All right, let's get back to some supernatural news. Where are we going to next?
Okay, we'll move on here. Freestyle Digital Media acquires the Demon House movie for March release. You know, Dave, I don't know about you, but I've gotten a lot of people who will hit me up and say, when is Zach Bagans' Demon House movie ever going to come out? Whatever happened to that thing? And I tell them, I don't know. It's not like Zach calls me up on a weekly basis and says, bro, guess what happened to the Demon House movie? He doesn't do that. But there is a story here that says paranormal-themed documentary hits North American theaters and VOD platforms on March 16th, so it's right around the corner. Freestyle Digital Media, the digital film distribution division of Byron Allen's Entertainment Studios, has acquired the North American rights to the paranormal-themed documentary Demon House. Demon House debuts in select theaters nationwide and will also be available to rent and own on VOD, that's video on demand for those of you who aren't aware, and digital HD across cable, internet, and satellite platforms through Freestyle Digital Media on March 16th of this year. Demon House documents what happens when Zach Bagans, the host, creator, and executive producer of the Travel Channel smash hit series Ghost Adventures, and his crew are overwhelmed by demon possession case some have called the next Amityville, the most authenticated case of possession in American history. After buying the haunted home in Indiana over the phone, sight unseen, Bagans and his crew are unprepared for the demonic forces that await them at the location referred to as the Portal to Hell. Written and produced and directed by Zach Bagans, Demon House features Zach Bagans, Father Michael Maginot, Dr. Barry Taff, and Captain Charles Austin. Demon House was produced by Joseph Taglieri and Mike Dorsey and was co-produced by Jay Wasley. Freestyle Digital Media Vice President of Acquisitions Dan Fisher negotiated the deal for Demon House with Alex Shankman, Abram Artists Agency's Senior Vice President and Head of Alternative Programming, Licensing and Digital Media. Demon House is a chilling, edge-of-your-seat horror thriller pitting the world's most renowned paranormal investigator against his greatest challenge, which is the House of 200 Demons, said Dan Fisher.
Boy, they've written this press release very poorly. They're making it sound like it's a movie, like it's a fictionalized movie. This is a documentary.
Yeah.
About all of this. But he squares off against the way they're writing it completely makes it sound like a movie.
Well, here at the end of it, or at the end of his statement, Dan Fisher says, "We at Freestyle cannot be more excited to bring Zach's documentary to millions of homes across North America this March." Zach went on to say, or is quoted as saying, "I destroyed the house because I do not want anyone to ever live there again. I saw too many things, and there was something inside the house that affected everyone, the police, clergy, children, my production crew, everyone. I'm delighted that Freestyle will now be making Demon House available to North American viewers soon." So there you go.
Yeah, That's cool. We had that Father Maginot on our show, remember?
Right, yeah.
When that story originally broke, we had him on. As a matter of fact, I was the one to connect him with Zach. I also connected Zach with the owner of the house so he could buy the house. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out. It's been, 4 years?
Yeah, he got that for something like $32,000, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was for a song, that's for sure.
All right, where are we going next?
Well, we go to the next story. A video shows a hangman's ghost in Bodmin jail, and that according to a paranormal investigator. William Hampton was sentenced to death in 1909 when he was convicted of murdering his young lover after she dumped him. It says the ghost of the last man to be hanged at Cornwall's infamous Bodmin jail has been caught on video. That, according to a paranormal investigator. Tony Ferguson, a man who claims he can communicate with the other side, says an apparition in the film he shot at the former prison, which is reputed to be one of Cornwall's most haunted locations, shows William Hampton, a jealous man who was sentenced to death after he was convicted of murdering his younger lover after she dumped him. The 32-year-old Tony and his wife Bev brought their camera and other ghosting devices to Cornwall's prison, where notorious criminals used to be executed. The couple, who live in Southampton, made sure they were the only visitors in the famous attraction, but they say they captured many supernatural incidents, including faint voices, strange electronic voice phenomena, and light orbs flying around the said rooms. Tony shared the footage with Cornwall Live, and its spookiest moment is when the lights went completely white before what he says the full figure of a ghost appears and floats down an empty corridor. We had scratches, banging, EVPs, strange noises, shadows, mists, strong orbs, and best of all, a ghost, Tony wrote on his YouTube channel. Bodmin Jail has verified this. Also, they have seen this ghost and were shocked at some of the captures. Now, that's saying something, as that is the most haunted jail in the UK and has had some of the craziest stuff happen, Tony went on to say. Tony believes that the apparition caught might be that of William Hampton, the last man to be hanged in the county. Indeed, Tony had called his name a few seconds before the apparition, urging, if there are any spirits there at all, please leave a message. Evidently that works. I've never tried it, but I should.
Why not? It couldn't hurt.
William Hampton from, is it St. Earth? I guess, was convicted of murder at Bodmin Court on June 24th, 1909, and was sentenced to death. A month earlier, the 24-year-old strangled his girlfriend, Emily Tradia, at Vicarage Row in the Village. According to the website British Executions, the man met the teenager in Cornwall after working several years in America. They got engaged in 1908, but a few months later, after Emily is thought to have said she would not stay with William anymore, he killed her in her family house. The murderer gave himself up to police after running away from the scene. He was executed on July 20th, 1909, and became Cornwall's last person to be hanged. In all, between 1735, when the jail opened, and 1909, 60 people, including 8 women, were executed in Bodmin Jail. Although both sexes were represented in the prison, men and women were segregated. Its population started to decline in the 1820s until the prison closed completely in the early 20th century, and that the buildings were sold in 1929.
So the hanging ghost is still hanging around, is what you're trying to tell me.
In a cleverly said way, yes. Yeah.
Cool. Hey, stay tuned, because in a little bit when we do Parashare, I'm going to talk about some of the cool experiences that took place at the Crescent Hotel. I just came back from that event in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. What a beautiful place, Tim. It is amazing. Yeah. We'll have to chat about that. Where are we going to go next?
Well, let's see here. Just depends on what wants to come up here for me. Paranormal investigators look for a different type of spirits at the Jim Beam factory, Dave. We go to Kentucky, where 2 investigators from the show Paranormal Lockdown are going to figure out if there are ghosts at the Jim Beam American Stillhouse. And no, it's not the spirit of Mila Kunis. Although I'd like to run into her at a Jim Beam factory. That'd be kind of fun. Some people at Jim Beam say the ghosts are as much of a Kentucky tradition as the bourbon itself. As you can imagine, some of our warehouses here, they're 9 stories tall, and if you're there at night by yourself, it can get a little creepy, said Stephanie Bingham with Jim Beam. The investigators will look at the history of the ghosts at the Jim Beam American Still House. They are literally going to get locked down inside that location for 72 hours. They stayed here on the property. They slept here. They were in these buildings for that entire time, Bingham said. Bingham is a Jim Beam tour guide who will be featured on the show and giving the investigators a tour. They really immersed themselves in what was going on around them, and they really let the energy of the place sort of seep into them so they can start getting that sort of activity, she said. They're coming out to see us. They want to see what our history is, and they want to bring that to the public. They want to show people what is going on here. A fate for the episode of Paranormal Lockdown series on TLC has not been officially set, it says here for this particular article.
So they're not quite sure what the fate is for that. All right. That's interesting.
That's not, no.
What's next, my good friend?
Insidious and Sinister crossover may happen, according to Jason Blum. You may see the two movies run into each other. Horror movies have kept pace with superhero franchises, stretching individual films into entire interconnected horror universes, with franchises like The Conjuring and Paranormal Activity leading the way. Insidious has established its own multi-branched franchise timeline, and according to Insidious, The Last Key producer Jason Blum, there's room for the Insidious universe to include another one, his popular horror franchise's Sinister. During an interview with Cinepop for The Last Key, Blum had the following to say when asked if we could ever see something like an Insidious Sinister crossover happen. He said, quote, "I hope so. I want to. We almost did Insidious and Sinister, and I still feel like we might do that, so I think so. I think we're going to cross our worlds at some point. I don't know yet, but we're going to try." In addition to dropping that bombshell, Blum goes on to talk about the future of the Insidious franchise, confirming that there will be a 6th installment provided, The Last Key, earns at the box office, and possibly even a 7th in order to extend the series past the 6-film run of Paranormal Activity. As for the crossover, it really wouldn't be hard to pull off, actually. The Sinister franchise revolves around a demonic monster or deity called Bagel, who travels from some otherworldly dimension into our world via images of himself, such as paintings, photographs, or video, to consume the souls of human children. Meanwhile, the Insidious films have become centered on the otherworldly realm of the Further and its many different supernatural connections to our world across space and time. The Further has offered many red doors through which various demonic entities have infiltrated our realm, and it's pretty easy to see how that framework would fit the idea of Bagel traveling between the Further and our world, eventually catching the attention of demonologist teams Specs Tucker and psychic medium Elise Rainier. In fact, given where the Insidious timeline left things off with the ghost of Elise spotting a horrible new demonic threat in a young girl's house, it would be simple to flip that ending into the beginning of an Insidious and Sinister crossover. So there you go.
See, I didn't care for the first 2 Insidious movies. I think you and I were on the same base with that.
Yeah.
The third one really was great, and I have yet to see the new Insidious, but I really want to check it out. And I really loved the first Sinister movie, but I was not a fan of the second Sinister movie.
Right.
But I would be, I'm corny and like weird crossovers because you and I grew up in the world of comic books, and when you'd see Batman show up in a Spider-Man comic or Superman show up in a Hulk comic or, any of those kind of deals, it was always exciting. So I'm always about cross-promoting those kind of deals. I loved Alien versus Predator. I would love to see how they would mash up Sinister and Insidious and have them start crossing into each other's paranormal universes. I don't know. Where do you stand on that? Do you think you should just leave those as independent?
I think it'd be interesting. However, in this day and age of one-off horror films, and the fact that it seems like these characters don't catch on as well as like some of the Freddy and Jason characters of old, I'm wondering if it would catch on as big or it would stick in people's mind that, hey, this character's from this movie,
Wouldn't it be interesting if you end up crossing over the characters, right, and have them end up kind of victorious at the end of the movie, have the villains kind of win the movie? And then in the last frame or two, the doorbell rings and we pan up slowly and there's Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then you mix the whole Blumhouse universe into there, and then you've got Ed and Lorraine squaring off against these characters. Because I got to guess at some point, they've bought the right to the characters. You could probably start having them fight other beings.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
That'd be a good idea. I'd like to see that.
I'm just a nerd. I don't know. I like weird stuff. Huh. All right, let's get back to some supernatural news, Tim. Where are we going next?
Well, the creators of The Purge, Insidious, and Paranormal Activity are making a new horror TV show, Dave.
They're doing a TV show now?
They're doing a TV show, yep.
All right, what's going on with it?
It says if Marvel conquered the superhero world, it's fair to say that Blumhouse Productions are also making a killing at the box office. They say they're fairly sure that studio executives haven't actually murdered anyone. Oh, well, that's good. But given the amount of money that the likes of Get Out, Sinister, Whiplash, and their various franchises, The Purge, Insidious, Paranormal Activity, etc., have made around the world, their status as the world's most sinister studio looks safe for now. With a new film coming out soon, Truth or Dare, audiences are in for a terrifying treat at the cinema, but you won't have to leave your house to have the crap scared out of you. Variety are reporting that Hulu and Blumhouse Television are joining forces to create an untitled horror anthology series with a unique approach. The new series, as part of the Hulu original slate, will deliver viewers 12 self-contained stories, a new episode premiering each month over 1 year. While no further details have been announced, we reckon that the show's that the show's creators will be looking to replicate the gore and mystery that the likes of American Horror Story, Black Mirror, and the upcoming Castle Rock have managed to do. The 12 episodes of the series are expected to tell individual tales, though there will be some kind of narrative plot that connects them. It's very fitting that the first episode will air in October, and that should give some people some Halloween fright. At the heart of the deal is an extremely passionate audience and an extremely active audience in terms of horror, said Hulu Chief Content Officer Joel Stillerman. It's not even the larger bucket of genre. I would say this falls squarely into the horror bucket, and it's brought to us by, I would say, in many ways that would be hard to argue, the consummate producers in that genre today. If you're a fan of the Purge franchise, you'll also be pleased to know that a TV version of that dystopian nightmare is also coming soon. Interesting.
That'd be cool. I hope they can do something good, because I got to be honest with you, these horror themed shows, American Horror Story to me is a bunch of crap. People swear by it that, oh my God, this is great. It's garbage. Yeah. I don't know what people get. It's garbage. It's schlock. It's poorly written. They're more interested in look at the cool celebrity we shoehorned into this episode than they are about actual character development.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it.
No, and then they screwed the pooch with Penny Dreadful. What a fantastic, and I will be honest, beautifully shot. There's no doubt about it. The cinematography, the filming, the sets, the costumes, amazing. The acting is brilliant for what they're given. And it was a crap script and a bad plot line. And what a disappointment that show turned out to be. Yeah. So I'm really hoping if they do this, they do it right. I love Ash from Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. And I love the Evil Dead series. Mm-hmm. And Ash versus the Evil Dead has been somewhat of a disappointment to me.
Yeah.
It's okay, but maybe it's like an SNL skit. They're great in short bursts. Like the Evil Dead are great every 15 years as a movie.
Yeah.
And a new movie. But as an ongoing 12-part series, I don't know that there's enough bang in that. I think one of the only ones that's been relatively successful through its entire run has been Walking Dead. And that even seems to be starting to show some pretty big signs of fatigue to the fan base. So I don't know. I hope they come up with something interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing kind of like a horror genre version of Twilight Zone.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad.
That'd be a cool deal. Even the Stranger Things series, and I know this is going to get my head put on the chopping block. I just don't get it. I think it's mildly entertaining at best.
I have this weird habit of not wanting to check out things that everybody seems to be grooving on at the same time. So I haven't actually sat down to watch Stranger Things because everybody is so into it. I don't know what that is, but I don't know. I've been wanting to, but I think because everybody's so kitschy about it, I just decided to turn my head to it. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's something, like I said, I do get the gist of it, but it just feels to me like it's, you got to like us. Look how kitschy we are. This is about the 80s. Mm-hmm. And like the Goldbergs is a TV show set in the 80s, but it's got that tongue-in-cheek feel to it.
Yeah.
I just feel like Stranger Things is working too hard, kind of like the latest Star Wars movie. It's just working too hard to try to remind me why I like it instead of just letting me like it.
Right.
And I don't care for that. And you can disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm not looking for emails and hate mail and comments and that I'm a moron. I'm well aware I'm a moron, but I am a moron with an opinion. And I'm not getting a lot of the stuff going on. Now, I will be honest with you. I watched the first new episode of The X-Files, and I enjoyed it. I have not watched any since. I want to build them up a little bit and kind of watch them together. I liked the last series run of it. I thought it was fun. It was just a fun, interesting little series. I don't know that I would support it if it was a full 22 episode or 30 episode series like most TV shows. Mm-hmm. I think I like the little 10 to 12 episode arcs, and it gives you just enough, and then it goes away for a while. So yeah. I kind of I'm starting to get used to that British TV programming way of 12 episodes and then go away for 8 months and then come back. That way you focus and you can give us some of the best stories.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my take on things. Do we have any more paranormal news?
We do. We have 2 more stories here.
All right. What else have you got for us?
A paranormal investigator claims he spoke to the comedy legend Stan Laurel's ghost. Kind of interesting.
Really?
Yeah. The investigator
All right.
reveals that what the legendary comedian wants the world to know. And evidently... No, I was going to make a joke here, but I'll lay off. A paranormal investigator claims he spoke to comedy icon Stan Laurel's ghost at a cinema, and he claims to have a photo to prove it. Laurel was part of the legendary comedy duo of Laurel and Hardy. The image was taken at the King's Cinema in Bishop Auckland by a 64-year-old Mickey Vermooch. Stan Laurel was walking alongside me, he told the Daily Star Online, adding, Stan said he was at peace and told me, this is where I had my happy times. This is where I belong. Vermooch from Scarborough, North Yorkshire, claims Laurel revealed himself to him so that the world knows he's around. This comes from Laurel's daughter, Lois Laurel Hawes, who passed away at age 89 in July in Los Angeles. In 2015, Vermooch also claimed that Elizabeth Taylor's ghost had made contact with him. And that's it to that story.
All right. Where are we off to next for our final Supernatural News tale?
This is our final story of the night. And it turns out that a female Jack Sparrow impersonator has legally married a ghost who looks like Jack Sparrow. Yeah.
There seems to be so much wrong with all of what you just said.
Well, a little. We all need someone to while away the hours with, someone to share the delightful things in life, Dave, and comfort us when things aren't going so well. And if we're lucky, we might even find the one, a partner so perfect that we don't feel complete as a person without them. Other people aren't so lucky, though, and spend their lives waiting and waiting for the perfect partner to appear. And that's what Amanda Teague, a female Jack Sparrow impersonator from, is it Drogheda, Ireland, was doing, but without any luck. Finding that she couldn't connect with anyone in the physical world, Amanda looked to the afterlife to find her kindred spirit. Yes, Amanda married the ghost of a Haitian pirate who died in the 18th century. She never seen him because he's a ghost, obviously, but he's also called Jack, and the pair got married on international water so that their marriage would be legal. A medium was on board.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Wait a minute. How is it legal to marry an invisible entity who you cannot hear, cannot see, and cannot prove that they have consensually agreed to this deal?
Well, the medium spoke for him.
Do tell. Go on.
A medium was on board to say I do for the ghost, Dave, since he cannot speak. See? He is my soulmate, Amanda said.
Aha, soulmate. I see what you did there.
I am so happy. It is the perfect kind of relationship for me, she went on to say. In 2015, Amanda legally changed her name to Amanda Sparrow and spent more than £4,000 transforming herself into Captain Jack Sparrow after watching the film franchise for the first time. Her 13-year-old daughter, who told her mother she was just like Johnny Depp's character. Interesting. She even has tattoos like the drunken sailor, as well as pirate-style dreadlocks and gold-plated teeth in order to look like the character. She's a charmer. And set up an impersonator business after her transformation. And while she can't see her husband, he has apparently told her that he is black with jet black hair, and she believes he looks like the character she dresses up as for a living. I think he's got her snowed there.
Here's the deal, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. Everybody wants somebody sometimes, but doesn't it make your heart hurt to hear a story like this? This woman feels so despondent and alone that she can't find love. She's willing to just convince herself that she's marrying a ghost so that she feels connected and whole. I'm not judging in any way, shape, or form. I promise you. I know I was just doing the cuckoo, and just having a little bit of fun on it. But it really kind of makes my heart sad that this woman feels that this is all she has in the way of love in this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, how does that make you feel? Don't you? I don't know. This story is so sad on so many levels to me. I mean, but again, maybe it's just her. Maybe we can hope that it's just some kind of weird promotional value to get her name in the newspaper, so people that are looking to hire a Jack Sparrow impersonator find her, and they think, oh, she's quirky and fun. Let's have her. I don't know. But man, I hope that's the real story. I hope it's not that she's really so desperately alone that she feels that's her only recourse for love.
I've seen worse, Dave. I have. My ex had a best friend who was convinced that she was going to marry George Clooney. So every move she made was to prepare herself to get ready to meet George Clooney.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that's, to me, that is a mental issue. I mean, that's a severe mental issue.
And everything out of her mouth was, so when I meet George Clooney, and when I do this, and when George and I are together, and she, it's not like she was 15.
Well, we've met some people in the field, in the paranormal field, who fixate on some of the sensitives that we've worked with the same way. And really feel, and again, my heart kind of breaks for them because I know why they feel this connection. It's kind of that Florence Nightingale thing. And I've heard from many mediums, both men and women, how people fall for them because you're sensitive in all versions of the word. You're listening with compassion, which a lot of people we're missing that in our lives. And I think we mistake that for a real love connection. You know, and I've generally tried to tell people, I appreciate what you're saying, and I appreciate that you feel you're madly in love with Chris Fleming. But I just want you to be aware that you are about the 43rd woman to contact me and tell me that you're supposed to be together with him.
I am.
And I'm not putting you down about it. I'm not slamming you for it. I'm just simply alerting you to the fact that this is more of an effect of what he does. And his type of work. And I try to very cordially tell people that. That's what I had to tell you when you met him and you were falling in love with him.
It's different with us, Dave.
No, Tim, no. You need to move on. He's not the love of your life.
But we're at all the same events together.
Sometimes you just need to look in front of you. Sometimes you just need to look in front of you. The love of your life could be right here, Tim. Right here, right now. Let's take a break. We've got Parashare coming up next. On the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness.
Beyond the Darkness.
Hello, welcome back to the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. It's a Supernatural News and a Parashare Monday night. I want to throw out a special call to our listeners. this is something I'm going to ask you. Please, for those of you that have been loving and supportive of this show for the 12 years we've been on the air, and loving and supportive of the show after we made the jump from terrestrial over to podcast form, I'm asking you to do us one more favor, one more solid. And if you love the show that you hear 5 days a week, all I'm asking is that you help support our true crime effort as well. So many of you loved when we would do true crime on our show. And when it wasn't made available and they didn't want us to bring it available to Podcast One, we launched it so that we could still make it available for the listeners out there. And listen, Tim and I do this because we love radio and we love doing what we do and we love the camaraderie with you guys out there listening. But this is not an easy job to always do 5 days a week, 6 days with the True Crime Tuesday. By supporting that show for $5 a month, that actually helps us to support and be able to keep up to date with equipment, keep up to date with all of the administrative costs, all of the time and effort that goes into booking guests, setting it up, recording, editing, producing, and uploading, and then paying for the streaming fees and everything that goes into this. So by supporting our True Crime Tuesday show, it goes a long way to help support this show as well. And we want to continue making this show free and available to you 5 days a week. And we'd like for you to just give us a shot and go over to darknessradio.com and click on the True Crime Tuesday banner and subscribe. We're talking a lousy $5 a month. $5. That's all it's going to cost you. It's $60 a year for a 1-year subscription. And you never miss another minute in the best of True Crime Talk Radio. Yeah, I know this sounds like we're pandering or begging. This goes such a long way to help us so that we can continue to maintain the show and make it a focal point for us and for you. And we're able to do that simply by asking for $5 a month for True Crime Tuesday. And look at it this way. You get True Crime Tuesday. It's 90 to 120 minutes every Tuesday of fun, brand new stuff. Plus, you get 5 days a week of the best in paranormal talk radio. So consider that. You get all of that for $5 a month. So that's all we're asking. If you could just support it and look at it that way, that you're getting all of these episodes of Beyond the Darkness and all of the episodes of True Crime Tuesday that come out every week, plus our archives. That's all we're asking is $5 a month. It's $1.25 a week, basically, to do this. And it's going to go a long way to help us. And because of the medical issues Tim has had and life challenges that pop up, this really goes a great way to help us so that we can continue to do this job and make it affordable for you. So please, just help us out. Go sign up and give it a shot. Give it a listen. Remind yourself what you loved so much about True Crime Tuesday. And if you sign up right now, not only do you get 4 brand new episodes every month, but you get all the archives going back to, what was it, like April, I think, we began officially doing True Crime Tuesday again.
Yeah, there's like 38 episodes waiting for you over there.
Yes, you've got a lot of True Crime Tuesday to work your way through. A lot of it's great paranormal slants, weird twists. And in my opinion, I think we've done some of the finest True Crime Tuesday episodes since we went to the Patreon site. We've had some amazing guests, some really great times, and I would love for all of you to give it a shot and just give it a listen. It's $5 a month. That's all. So again, go to darknessradio.com and click on the True Crime Tuesday banner. I promise I won't be doing this every day of the week. I just wanted to make this mention right now as we're launching into a new year. That's success. And if we can get that to succeed and get up over the 2,500 to 3,000 people signing up a month, that will go a long way to make sure that we can continue to deliver you the high quality product that we do with Beyond the Darkness and True Crime Tuesday every month. So again, darknessradio.com, click on the True Crime Tuesday banner. If for some reason you're having any problem accessing that link, just send me an email, dave@darknessradio.com. That's dave@darknessradio.com. Send me that email and I'll send you the link direct so you can open it from your email. All right, let's get started, shall we, Mr. Dennis? We've had a lot of great stories over the last couple of years. And I'm just looking right now in my folder, Tim, that I keep here for Parashare stories.
Yep.
I have 1,283 messages.
Wow.
That are backed up.
Jeez.
So I'm trying to work our way through it as fast as we can. And did I promise I was going to go back to the oldest stories this week?
Yeah, you said you were going to turn that thing upside down. You were going to go from
all right, let's do it. Here we go. Let's see. It looks like this first story I have in here, Tim, is from around March of 2008.
Whoa.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what we can get going. Hold on.
Okay.
These old ones are full of dust. My name is Carmen Satterfield. We believe our home has paranormal activity going on. This has been going on since we moved in here, October 12th of 2000. When the activity first started, it was with a bang. It was first a black figure that slithered up on my husband's side of the bed. He said it laid on top of him and it would not let him up. This happened 2 different times within 20 minutes of each other. The other times have been when I would be home by myself, when my husband would be at work at night. You could hear footsteps up in the attic. You knew you were not alone. Another time, my husband was sitting in the living room watching TV, and I was sitting in the kitchen on the phone, and my grandma and me heard a loud knocking noise at our laundry room door, but nobody was in there. Our kids were in bed asleep. My cats came out of the attic hissing, the hair standing on the back of their necks. My dogs will growl and bark at stuff when we are all in bed asleep, and there is no reason for them to be doing so. Another time we were laying in bed asleep and our kids were sleeping, we heard what sounded like cowboy boots on the bedroom door. My kids are afraid to sleep in their rooms. They wake up screaming, saying there's someone in the room with them. Ooh, that's kind of chilly, huh?
Yeah.
One night, my oldest was in his room playing, and my youngest was in his bed asleep in the other room, and my husband and I were watching TV. And so I got up to go ask him who he was talking to. And he was like, they're right here, Mommy. Can't you see them? And I told him, honey, there's nobody here but you. And he said, no, Mommy, they are right there. When I went to my entire family, they thought I was nuts. My husband doesn't like to talk about it. He says it bothers him and doesn't know how to deal with it. I grew up in a Pentecostal church all my life, and I even tried praying through the house. And for a bit that worked. Then it just started up again, full force. I don't know what else to do. I feel like a prisoner in my own home. I just want whatever it is going on to go away so that we can live in this house without any further things going on. That's pretty creepy. That is a lot of crazy activity taking place. Carmen, I'm sorry we're finally just getting to your story now, but it's a good one. I hope that you found some resolve. If you haven't, shoot us a new email. Let us know what's gone on since 2008. What is that?
10 years.
10
Dave.
years?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
10 years.
10 years. Why am I so afraid I'm going to come upon some emails where people are like, can you please help us?
Yeah.
And it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
All right. Our next story, Tim, comes to us from October 12th of 2008. It's kind of interesting to go back into these stories, isn't it?
It really is. I hope these people are still alive.
Yeah. The one thing, and again, just to remind people, why are we going back into this? Because, what happens is every day I get emails. And whenever we do a Parashare Monday, I try to go to the most recent emails. And we'll read, 6 to 12 of them in a Monday.
Right.
But then I collect another bunch every day. So sometimes, in 2008, we're reading them, and I don't even think we were really doing that much with Parashare back then.
No.
But, we tried to keep as many of the emails as we could and work our way through them. So we're just going to dabble back and forth. Here's one. It says, we had several really strange things happen, but this one scared the crap out of us. I woke up one evening around 2 o'clock in the morning to a really strange noise. It sounded like the door rattling really fast, really loud. I grabbed my husband, actually dug my nails into his arm, and he bolted out of bed. He immediately heard the noise and bolted out of bed. Was someone breaking in? He grabbed a wooden chair from our room and walked toward the sound, which was coming from our kitchen. When he flipped on the light, there on the counter was our blender spinning wildly on the counter. The kicker was, it was not plugged in. We just moved into this old house in Burlingame, California, and we were constantly getting awoken in the middle of the night with our blankets yanked completely off. All of our cupboards wide open, strange knocking and lights that would turn off and on while we slept, all of which we could write off as somewhat explainable. But this one, I couldn't explain it. It freaked us out completely, and we moved within the month. It's scary as hell, and that came from Emma. So wait, she could explain the other ones. But not this one, huh? I would have a hard time, be hard-pressed to be able to explain any of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right. 2008. Here we go, October 29th, 2008. Hi, Dave and Tim. I just listened to the tail end of your show on K102 this morning as I was leaving work. I wish I could have heard the entire show. Anyway, I believe my house is haunted by a friendly ghost. What things can you do to verify that without buying a bunch of equipment? Thanks, Connie. I'll be listening for your answer.
Whoops.
Oh, Connie, October 29th, 2008. Let's start broadcasting back in time, Tim. All right, Connie, we've got your email. Here it is, October 30th, 2008. We just got your email. We're reading it now. How can you tell if your house is haunted by a friendly ghost? Well, Tim, I think these would be some key signs. Blood is not pouring out of your walls or anus.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
There's no screeching sounds coming from under the floorboards.
Check.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
No giant tears in your flesh.
Double check.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So those would be some good signs that those would be malevolent or dark spirits. If they were good spirits, I don't, your things go missing and you go, oh, where are my keys? And then you turn around and there they are.
Check.
They're right in the crisper where you didn't leave them, right?
Check.
That's a friendly ghost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Friendly ghost might come in and you're sleeping and your feet pop out of the blanket and it's kind of chilly and cold in your house, and then they just flip that blanket over your feet. That would be a friendly ghost.
Double check.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you have three malevolent ghosts, Stinky, Lumpy, and Chinny, or whatever the hell their names are, and they're trying to haunt your house. But the little ghost in the house is always combating them and trying to frighten them even more so that they'll leave you alone. That's a good sign of a friendly ghost. At least that's what Casper taught us when we were children, Tim.
Yep.
What are some other signs of a friendly ghost? They make you a sandwich.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Yeah. They leave you alone in your room when you're, needing some alone time, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Or they push the bottle of Lubriderm a little bit closer to your side of the bed. I don't know, just one of those things.
Yeah.
That would be signs of a friendly ghost. So
Right.
usually you kind of have an idea if you got a friendly ghost, right? As long as you're not being vivisected and nobody in your family's speaking in foreign tongues and their heads are spinning, it's usually a pretty good sign. It's a good ghost.
Right. Yeah.
All right. I feel like we really helped, Connie. Let's go back to 2018, shall we, Tim?
Yes. That's a horrible sound effect. Did I run out of money in the budget already this month?
We're blowing through time back to 2018.
Sounded like we were blowing something else there. That was horrible. Good Lord, it sounded like we were blowing a goose. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
All right. So that's your answer, Connie. I hope it helped. Back in 2008. Dave, I've been hearing a child's voice saying or whispering mom, and it's beginning to freak me out.
Could be your own child.
It could be. There's always that sign.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago, I was laying in bed reading a book, and I heard one of my kids run down the hall, which I have heard 100 times before. I got out of bed to see why they'd gotten up, and they were all sound asleep. A couple of weeks later, I was working on my computer in my bedroom, facing the wall with my back to the closet door, when all of a sudden a child said, "Mom," sounding like it was near the closet door. And all I could think was, I was going to turn around and nobody will be there. Sure enough, nobody was there. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I had just went to bed, shut off the light, and a child's voice whispered, "Mom?" about a foot away from my head. I'm totally freaked out. I don't know why this is happening. It just seems like every time it happens, it's late at night. The lights can be on or off. My kids are always sleeping, and my husband is always at work. Very few people believe me, even my husband. I don't know of any child dying that I can remember. Any answers? Thanks. And that comes from Wendy. Well, Wendy, it's 10 years later. Well, let's call it what it is. 9 years and 6 months later. And I think I finally have an answer to your question. First of all, if your kids, most of the time it's at night while your kids are sleeping, lights on or off, maybe it's your own children projecting. Maybe they're astral projecting. And they think they're in a dream where they're going in to talk to mommy. But for some reason, mommy isn't responding.
Oh, yeah.
So for those of you that hear your children's voices at night while they're sleeping, ask them the next morning, did you dream about mommy or did you dream about daddy last night? And just see, I mean, it might be that you'd be surprised. Yeah, mommy, I was trying to talk to you and you wouldn't answer. You know, that very well could be it. What do you think, Tim? Is that a viable possibility?
That's a very viable possibility. I also think maybe you just are a heavy sleeper and you are ignoring your children.
Could be. Could be.
I think we need to call CPS. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Hi, Dave and Tim. My daughter, who is 2.5. This was written to us on October 31st of 2008. Tim.
Oh, good.
So that daughter's now almost 13 years old.
Wow.
That's almost the age of my daughter, Tim.
Yeah.
My daughter's going to be a teenager this year.
That's scary.
Yeah. Paranormal Pacey is going to be 13. Oh, my God. Hi, my daughter, who is 2.5, talks about with about 4 to 5 people and a dog. The people are adults in our family, and there is one baby who I'm not sure who it is. She gets very scared when the dogs come to visit. When she sees the dog, she will usually cry and run towards me and yell at the dog, "Go away! No bark, doggy!" What can I do to help her about not being afraid of the dog? We tell her to ask the doggy why he is here, but she is usually too upset. Thanks for your help, Shannon. Thanks for my help. I wasn't much help, Shannon. I'm sorry. Minnesota Hockey Nut. That's her online handle. Probably from MySpace days, Tim.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. Some people are just afraid of animals. So it could be that your child was just naturally afraid of animals. I don't know, because we didn't answer your question 10 years ago. So you probably would have told me, no, Dave, my kid is not afraid of living animals. But maybe it's just that maybe the dog wasn't fully formed. I don't know.
I can say this.
Maybe this was a bad idea going back this far. I feel bad now.
You should. I can tell you this much, Shannon. I just yell it as a precautionary measure sometimes as I'm walking down the street. No, bad doggy, get away, doggy, now. And it helps keep muggers and robbers away from me. So I think maybe she was just practicing for later in life, like when she was around, 13 and getting out of the house.
God, we can only hope so.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to some more of these strange stories from way back in the day, Tim, shall we?
Let's do it.
Right. Sorry about that, Shannon. Sorry we couldn't be more helpful to you and your daughter who was seeing dogs. All right. Here we go. Monday, November 3rd, 2008, Tim.
Oof.
From the Darchives. My wife and I moved into our house in 1997. One of the things I specifically looked for in houses was whether or not the previous owner had pets. And I always asked, is there anywhere the pet won't go? I've always read that animals spot ghosts before humans do, and that there are anywhere in the house the pet wouldn't go. I'd want to check that spot out to see if there was something going on. I had lived with a ghost in our apartment, and I wasn't too scared of them, but I just didn't want to deal with an extra hassle of an unseen roommate again. You know, that one that kept playing with the light switch in the bathroom and getting me into trouble. So we moved into our house, and it was clear. The week after we moved into my parents, moved into the basement apartment, so we were a 4-person extended family for the time being. I got up one night shortly after moving in, and I was just getting a drink. Couldn't tell you what time of night it was. I just woke up thirsty to get a drink. As I'm standing in the dining room, my aunt comes out of the kitchen and says that she has to go, but she doesn't want to leave without saying goodbye, and she couldn't find my mom. I said, they don't live in the old house anymore. They're downstairs. She thanked me, said goodbye again, and went to the basement. It didn't hit me until much later that the basement door never opened. Likewise, it didn't hit me until much later that my aunt lived in San Diego. How the hell was she in the Philadelphia suburbs? Somewhere the rational part of my head said I was dreaming, and I agreed out of simplicity. I put the glass down and went back to bed. When I got up the next morning, I went out to the living room and noticed that my glass was really on the dining room table. Interesting. My mom came upstairs with a look on her face. She said that she had bad news, but I stumped her before she said the next sentence. And I said, Aunt Marion died last night. Wow, that's a hell of a story.
Yeah, it is.
That's a good one. And that's kind of the stuff you've had happen to you, right? Mm-hmm. Where you've had somebody visit you just before they die, either in a dream or kind of a real life form.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's see here. What else have we got going? Oh, so many nice emails. I wish we could have gotten to them at some point.
10 years ago.
Oh, that's a great email right there. I'm going to have to go back to that one. This is a picture from back when we were at the Stanley Hotel, and those chairs were stacked.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really kind of intriguing because she actually caught the picture of the chair starting to lift up off the rack of chairs before it threw itself to the floor.
Oh.
So that's, boy, that's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah.
Huh. All right, let's see here. Nope, that's definitely not one for that. All right. Hello, Dave. Hello, Tim. I'm writing to you from Sasebo, Japan. I listen to your show through iTunes, and I love it. Huge fan in a normal way, not in the creepy stalker way, LOL. Anyhow, I'm writing to you in regards of your last podcast about the shadow people. I had an experience when I was 13. And this email comes to us, Tim, all the way from February 11th of 2009.
Whoa.
So we're moving through the time. We're now, only 9 years back. Anyway, I'm writing to you in regards of your last podcast about the shadow people. I had an experience when I was 13. At that time, my older sister left her husband because of domestic violence. She and my niece stayed and shared the room with me and my younger sister. We had twin beds. She and my niece slept in the bed close to the wall under a window. Me and my younger sister slept right across from them on the other wall. There was a tall dresser, the middle between us. I hope you see what I'm trying to explain. I remember clearly on this day I had a dentist appointment for my braces. When it came time for bed, I decided to sleep down towards the footboard of the bed in fear that my younger sister might hit me in the mouth and cause me a lot of pain. Now, looking back, she could have just as easily kicked me in the face, but thankfully she didn't. I remember having a dream that night. In the dream, I was taking a shower in my parents' bathroom. I had long hair then, so I would take the radio in with me so I could listen to it while I was washing and combing out all the knots in my hair. In the dream, I realized I forgot the radio, so I got out and walked out down the hall to the hall closet. I was standing outside the closet with the radio in hand when I saw a red light glowing in my parents' bathroom. I didn't understand what was going on then. Out of nowhere, this man sticks his head out, then proceeds to walk out. I can still remember him to this day. I don't remember if his eyes were red or not, but he was a short man, maybe about 5 feet. He had dirty gray hair, a beard, and a mustache, and wore a black suit. It startled me so much that I woke up. Now, right in front of me was the same man. I knew it was him, the same body build, but I couldn't see his face. But he was there right in front of me. It was so dark, I couldn't tell if he was looking at me or my older sister. Eventually, somehow, I fell asleep again. When I woke up in the morning, I asked my sister if she saw the same thing. She said she saw a man but didn't know who he was looking at. She told my mom. Then the next thing I remember, my mom and my grandma were walking around the house with green leaves and sage. Let me see here real quickly. Green leaves and smoke. I'm Hispanic, and every time something weird happened in that house, my mom and grandma would do this. I don't know what it was. She never got a chance to tell me. Soon after that experience, my mom was killed by my sister's husband, and he shot my sister 3 times. After that, he took his own life. She survived, but my mom passed away. I don't know if this qualifies as a shadow person experience or what it falls under, but it is an experience I will never forget. I'm sorry, but I don't remember if it was the time of the month for me, so I can't help you with your theory. My theory, if you remember for a long time, Tim, especially with women that were seeing shadow people, I often wondered, were they experiencing their period at the time? Mm-hmm. Maybe that was opening them up. Mm-hmm. Kind of like kids in puberty seem to kind of expel that poltergeist energy. I just wondered if maybe women are more in tune to those moments when they're bleeding and having their menstrual cycle happen. Was my thought. This is the first time in years that I speak of this moment. I'm now 27. So 27 plus 9 is what, Tim? That'd be 36. She's now 36, married and stationed in Japan, but it still puzzles me. I don't know if this man or thing was sent to harm us or what, but I remember hearing that my sister's ex-mother-in-law was into what we call Santeria. I don't know if it's true, but I can say that after the tragedy, my sister has had some bad luck. She had to get a cleansing and protection. I guess it's worked because now she's happily remarried and doesn't live in fear. I hope you get this. I do feel a lot better that I've told someone, not just anyone, but someone that believes me. Good luck with the show. Like I said, I really enjoy it. Quite respectfully, QM3 White. So great story. I'm sorry about your loss and the violence in that. I wouldn't say, maybe Santeria, maybe dark figures would have been around there, but this figure, I always tell people this, Tim, and I don't know where your thoughts are on it, but if you wake up and there's a shadow person in your room and you're able to go back to sleep, it's probably nothing evil or malevolent.
Yeah.
Do you say that's a pretty fair assessment?
Yeah, that's a very fair assessment. The way you speak of it, I mean, one of the episodes where I was hosting, we were talking to a man who specialized in Santeria. The way she almost spoke of it, it almost seemed like an evil spirit or entity that she was talking about, one of the more evil spirits of Santeria, but not a shadow person, no.
Yeah. Hello, Dave and Tim. My name is Mike. I spoke with you last Friday about the twin girls that are seeing faces in their room and monsters in the dining room. What I'm wondering is there anything we can do to stop this? My mother thinks it might be Kellyanne, my sister, who passed away 30 years ago. She lived in the house till she died. Something else I found interesting is my dog refuses to go in the basement. That came from Michael back in February of 2009. And I did answer Michael's email because I've got the response in here. I just want people to know that. Yeah, it's, in those cases, how do you tell? Yeah, it's probably your sister. I don't know. I'm not a psychic or a medium. Basically, I just told him that, if they're seeing things, just encourage them to be open and explain to you what they're seeing, how often they're seeing it, start to document it. And as a parent, you have the authority to tell these things to get the hell out and leave your kids alone. That's what I do. Right. Every time you're at my house, Tim, I say, leave my kids alone and get the hell out.
You do. And it's so rude, Dave, because I bring gifts and I bring candy, and I know it's creepy, but, I'm just trying to get along with them.
All right. Let's do one more from the time capsule, shall we?
Sure.
Hi, guys. I'm listening to you on K-Fan right now. Great interview. Just a story I want to share. This comes from Jason back in March of 2009, March 12th, Tim. We're marching through time, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
One of my best friends has a house that's haunted. Either that or his mom is. I never believed him until I started spending time at his house. No one has ever been hurt, but most people who have spent any time at that house has had the same experiences. He spends almost all the time in the basement, so we hang out down there all as well. When we would hang out there and his parents were gone, we could hear footsteps go up and down the steps and walking around upstairs. Sometimes we would be acting like kids doing stupid stuff and hear the footsteps, so we would hurry around and get things back in order. Then normally someone would go down the hall to check to see where his parents were, except all the lights were off and there was nobody upstairs. That's the most common thing that happens. I've lost count of all the times that's happened. When you want it to happen, it doesn't. It only occurs during those times when you least expect it, and there are always footsteps that we hear. Sometimes they differ in sound, like different speed going down and weight. You can hear and count the amount of steps they actually take. Other things that happen are things vanish from where you put them. You look around and you can't find it. Then a week or two later, it shows up exactly where you had originally put it. Now that's called apportation, and I think those are time slip moments again. Oh, yeah. I really do believe that. I think that's just a moment in time. Those things are going out of phase at that moment. His mom says that she has experienced stuff like this her whole life. Once again, no one really believes these things until they experience them. She said she sees beings sometimes, dark ones and light ones. She remembers her parents telling her to just talk to the light ones and ignore the dark ones. My friend's fiance, who lives there as well, since his dad died 2 years ago, said one night when she got home late, she thought she saw his mom walk from the living room to the hallway out of the corner of her eye. She had something to ask her, so she got up and went to the living room only to see her sleeping on the couch. She used to make fun of us about the house being haunted until that happened. Now she doesn't. You are just talking about remodeling a home, the house they live in. They did remodel. This is the old part of the house, and the new section they added on. Most of the activity does happen in just the old part, and not much happens in the new part. You get that feeling of being watched in the old section and not so much in the new section. Other things that happen but not too often our hanging plants start spinning all at the exact same time, and dogs refusing to go downstairs. Any idea on what's happening there? And my own personal story that I haven't told anyone was that when I was between the ages of 4 to 6, I saw something. My brothers and I used to share a bed when we were little. There used to be a mirror on the wall. One night when we were all in bed, I saw a figure that looked like me, but it wasn't me in the mirror, standing up in white robes, smiling. Being of that age, I went under the covers. Thanks for the show, and that's Jason from March 12th of 2009. Jason, thank you from the annals of time. I said annals, Tim. Annals.
Oh, annals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So thank you very much for listening and sending in your story 9 years ago. I'm glad we were finally able to get to them. We'll do this again. It's kind of fun to revisit some of these old emails, and I will do my best to kind of dig through and see if we can find some more longer, creepier stories too. But those were great paranormal experiences and stories from back then. So it's great to touch base on that, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. Remember, again, support the advertisers that support this show, because no matter where you're listening in the world, when you support the show and you support those advertisers, it's going to keep us on the air for a good long time. And that's exactly where the two of us want to be, on the air for a good long time. That's it for this evening. We'll be back again tomorrow with more of the best in paranormal talk radio and a brand new edition of True Crime Tuesday. And you can sign up by visiting darknessradio.com. Click on the True Crime Tuesday banner and sign up now. There's no more reason to wait. Help support your friends and your buddies here on Beyond the Darkness and True Crime Tuesday by signing up. $5 a month, $60 a year. That's all it breaks down to. But you can just do it month by month. You can quit anytime. Give it a shot. Give it a listen and sign up right now. We'd appreciate your support on that. Have a good night. We'll be back again with you tomorrow right here on Beyond the Darkness.